Survey research involves the collection of information from a sample of individuals through their responses to questions. The aim of survey research is to develop a representative picture of the attitudes and characteristics of a population. One of the benefits of survey research is efficiency. Surveys are efficient in that many variables can be measured without substantially increasing the time or cost. Survey data can also be collected from many individuals at a relatively low cost and, depending on the administration method, relatively quickly. Although the aim of survey research is to provide information that is representative of a population, representativeness is not a given. It depends on whether or not the research has been well designed and executed. In terms of disadvantages, surveys often only provide a partial understanding of complex phenomena, so they may need to be supplemented by additional methods that involve more open-ended conversations with participants. There are many ways to administer surveys. Self-administered surveys are those conducted by post, web, or email. Researcher-administered surveys are those conducted in person or on the phone. Group-administered surveys are those conducted in a group setting, usually with a researcher present. Surveys can also be cross-sectional, meaning they are conducted at one point in time, or longitudinal, meaning they are conducted at multiple points in time for comparison purposes. Some studies may involve the use of multiple administration methods. For example, a study may give participants the option of completing a postal survey or completing a web-based version of the survey. Or a study may use different methods for different populations. The most appropriate administration method depends on a couple of things, including the purpose of the study, likely sources of bias and error, and available resources. It is preferable to be consistent in the administration method used to avoid introducing any biases into the research. There are 6 potential sources of bias in survey research. These include the survey instrument itself, the wording or format of the questions in the survey, how respondents are sampled, respondent characteristics, characteristics of the interviewers if applicable, and the data collection strategy. Additional information on each of these issues is provided in the handout. Most of these biases and errors can be avoided through a clear and thoughtful research design and through consistent data collection methods. To conduct survey research, we must consider 5 key elements: design, sampling, the instrument, data collection, and data analysis. Let's start with design. There should be alignment between the concepts in the research question, the variables being measured, and the items in the survey. This is to ensure that the research question is in fact being answered by the proposed methods and instrument. Next is sampling. The proposed sample size and a rationale for the size should be identified. The larger the sample size, the more likely the results are to be representative of the population. It is important to keep in mind that response rates to surveys can be quite low, often around 30%. So the proposed sample size should be large enough to compensate for the fact that many individuals will choose not to participate. It is common to use a sample size calculator to determine the ideal sample size based on the size of the population, if known, and the amount of error and uncertainty that you're willing to tolerate. Such calculators are available online. The sampling procedure should also be identified. Random selection of individuals is preferred because it eliminates bias from the selection process and enhances representativeness. But random sampling may not always be possible or appropriate. In such cases, non-random sampling may be used, such as purposive or convenient sampling. Next is the instrument. Which instrument is being used, and is it a new or existing instrument? The validity and reliability of the instrument are very important characteristics that must be established. Please refer to the handout for more information on what these concepts mean and how they can be proven. Next is data collection. The respondent recruitment process should involve the use of a cover letter and a consent form. The Dillman method is the gold standard for administering surveys and following up. The Dillman method outlines how many reminders should be sent out and at what intervals to ensure a high response rate. Finally, there is analysis. Which descriptive and inferential statistics will be used and why? The handout provides a table outlining different statistical tests that are appropriate based on the type of data collected in the survey. If there are open-ended questions in the survey, consideration is also needed for how these text-based responses will be analyzed. Thank you, and please visit us at www.hsprn.ca to access a detailed handout on survey research methods and to access our research library of data, analysis, and research methods videos and handouts.